Hello, I'm Tuomas from Leverage.
Hello, I'm Paolo from Leverage. Brilliant.
Yeah, all good, all good. A little busy, but that's good.
Yeah.
On my part, I never thought about quitting the band. It was just that I didn't know how to go on. I was pretty down with Kimmo's passing away. He was a dear friend of mine. I knew him for 25 years, and so it was not the first thing on my mind. But started thinking maybe 2 or 3 months after. Started thinking that this is not the end. And at the same time, we had this memorial event for Kimmo in October, I believe, maybe 2 months after he had passed away. And I knew Paul from the past, and he promised to help out celebrate Kimmo's life with performing a couple of Leverage songs. I knew he's a great singer, and it's just like very often it's like the most obvious answer is right next to you. So we started talking about this, and it was actually once we got into it, it was pretty clear to me that we're going to continue with Paolo.
Yeah, and on my side, I have to say, well, I had been thinking this for many, many years because I had been a Leverage fan even way before I met Tuomas, which was, I believe, around 10 years ago, the first time we met. And yeah, I knew Leverage before that from the albums with Pekka Heino. And so I was also delighted when Leverage came back to life with Kimmo. But in the back of my mind, I always thought it would be so great if I could join this band because it's one of my favorite, heavy rock bands. And the fact that it was based here in Finland, of course, when I moved here from Italy, well, that added to that. And well, yeah, I think fate, played its cards for us and put us together. Tuomas and I, through the years that we've been knowing each other, had collaborated a few times, and I've always admired his songwriting, his skills. The way I think that we relate very well to each other in the way that we think about music and our tastes and so on, and we have the same kind of also professional mentality when it comes to making music together. We are very much on the same page. So I think it came very natural.
That's exactly that's the point. I can't really write unless it's. There's been cases where people have been asking for songs. It's like and then you just kind of shoot. You look, okay, here's a song. Maybe somebody likes it, whatever. But anything that has to do with Leverage is like I have to hear the singer's voice in my head, and it took me a while to start hearing Paolo's voice in my head. But when I started hearing it, I started hearing things that I started hearing possibilities. I started seeing roads that were not there with Kimmo or Pekka. It's something like a lot heavier, leaning more towards the music that I really, really, really love, the old Rainbow, old Black Sabbath from the 80s and 70s. So I realized that here's a chance. We could do something like this, and he can do it. So that very, very much guided the writing, and we also co-write quite a bit for the album, which is fairly new to me also. So it was once we got it going, it was a really fast and very efficient project. And like he said, Paolo is very disciplined, and I tend to be like that when I get to work. I focus, I throw myself in totally. So it's like we wrote the album in like 3 months, I believe, and
Pretty much.
once it got going, it was pretty fluent and easy and came out great. It's like I guess most of it is like one thing leading to another. First of all, Lotta has been helping out with her violin on the last two albums, so it's been like a song here and a song there, and she's been with us live a few times, and it's been great. I've always thought that it's great to have that kind of asset, something different. It's like you don't find a player, an instrumentalist, a person like her in every heavy band. And then again with Mikko, there's nothing wrong with me and him. It's like we're still as good friends as we used to be. But he's a very busy guy, so he's like it became more a schedule thing than anything else. It's like it's very hard to schedule his life with our life. So I was like, okay, well, we're gonna start making an album. Either you're gonna be a part of it or not. And it turned out that he didn't have the time to put into it. So I'm like, let me know if you ever have more time. But for now, we are a single guitarist band, and that's it. And as for drummer Elias, sorry, Paolo, if I
No, just no, don't worry.
But then again, it's like we're all grown-up people. It's like people have their lives, people have priorities, and it seemed to me that a long time that Valtteri was maybe heading into another direction. He's a great guy. He's a very good player. He's been in Leverage for a long time, but then again, at the beginning already, he was a hired gun. We just found somebody who was a good drummer up in Jyväskylä, our old hometown. So he joined the band and he stayed for almost 20 years, right? So if he wanted to take another direction, I'm not going to step in the way. I just would have hoped that he would have said that a little earlier, because now it's been a little hectic, but we were very, very, very lucky with Paolo's connections in finding a young, outstanding player like Elias is. He's fantastic.
Yep.
I'm so happy we have a drummer like that right now.
Yep. Yeah, I can definitely. I agree with Tuomas because, well, that finding Elias was kind of a lucky strike, really, because we had already sent a couple emails and messages to people we knew that might be interested in joining the band. But things were, like in the moving and in the happening. And, well, Elias came to mind because he studied at the same university, music university where I teach in Metropolia. And I had traded a few words with him through the years, and like he came across to me as a really, really nice guy, like a clever bloke. And we knew that at least partly our musical taste and influences overlapped. For example, Judas Priest, he likes Judas Priest a lot, and Dave Holland, who played in Judas Priest, Bobby Yazdombek, who played in Halford's band. So we knew that we had common ground, and so I picked up the phone. I sent him a message that, hey, like we're looking for a drummer for this kind of band, and do you know it? Would you be interested? And I sent him the songs from the album, and I think he was a little bit struck by lightning. That wow, this is great stuff. We organized an audition, but he only needed to play the 3 songs we gave him once. And that was it. And then immediately we knew that, okay, this is the guy. He was very interested, and like Tuomas and I just looked at each other. We already knew what was going on. So I think we are all very grateful that now we have such a great player. Elias is also a great guy, very easy to work with. Musically is like on the same wavelength as us. So like I think in the end it turned out the best possible way for everybody.
And it's a different generation. It's like I guess he's like 30 now.
Yeah, about.
And it's so different. They're all schooled. It's like their professionalism is at a totally different level than it used to be like 40 years ago. All that, and then so it's like he checks out the songs, he writes them down. He has maybe he has notes on the stand in a rehearsal. Okay, I don't remember the song inside out, but let me grab this, and then it's like totally flawless. So it's like I'm right, all right, whatever, it's all good. So as far as band chemistry and all those things go, like the groove, how they're gonna lock with Sami and all that, it will take a while. But those are tiny things, like they are like more like musician things, But I have zero doubt in my mind that he's gonna be great for us.
Since the band changed so much and there's like multiple generations, I think now in the band as well, is that also a bit of a learning school for you somehow?
I'm a dinosaur. I don't care. It's like I think to be serious for a second, maybe it's like I guess when it comes to music, it doesn't matter. It's like music is a universal language. It goes between cultures, goes between continents, goes between generations. It's like if you enjoy playing the same music, it doesn't matter if you're born 30 years apart or whatever, because like it's the music that matters. But of course, you know, like if this was the old world, like the band's supposed to live together and tour together for, you know, months or years and all that, then it might be a little different. But you know, the way things are these days is like he lives like 2 kilometers away from where I work. Okay, so it's so easy, you know, like anything we need to do, you know, set up like extra rehearsal or whatever, it'd be like one phone call away, like 5 minutes. And I'm sure, you know, anything he might need from us or we might need from him with the modern technology and all that at this learning stage, so to speak, it's like this. It's so easy to, you know, arrange.
Yep.
That I don't see the problem. It's I guess it's easy for me to say because this band has more or less been about songs that I've written since from the get-go, and there's been fantastic people like Torsti and Pekka and our original bass player Pekka Lampinen and Mikko and Valtteri and so forth. You know, the list is getting longer, okay? But it's still the same band, it's still the same music. And I think we have a great lineup to perform both the new music and the music of our past with what we have right now. And that's the only thing that concerns me. That's the only thing I care about. It was that song, and then there's another song called Eliza on the album that we worked on first. And then there's also a song called Moon of Madness. These latter two ones have not been released yet. But like there were bits and pieces here and there. I guess with Shooting Star, it was about that, you know, that twang and vibrato and all that, you know, that Western thing it has. That was music. But then I was thinking about the melody and the key and, you know, like the scale that the singer would have to be able to sing in that song. And I'm like, you know, like, no, I have a singer that can actually do this. You know, he's not going to die doing it. So, you know, or die trying. So I mean, like that's when, you know, it's like it changes. It's not just, you know, not just the way he sings. It's not just a, you know, like, you know, personality thing. It's also a little bit of a mechanical thing in a lot of ways, because you're used to writing songs in certain keys, depending on the range of the singer. Now I was able to move to areas, you know, the type of riffs, you know, type of things on the guitar or whatever, you know, like that I haven't been able to work in before. That's, you know, when I started thinking, okay, this is going to be something new. It's going to be great.
Yeah, but on my side, it's funny you bring up Shooting Star, because for me that was kind of the key moment where I knew that this new album is going to be awesome, because the story goes like that we had worked the whole morning on Eliza, a song that, as Tuomas said, has to be released yet. It's going to be part of the album. And then we left for a lunch break, and then we came back. Tuomas said, well, I know you're a little bit tired, but I would have another idea that it's kind of in the making, you know. So he had he had scrapped some lyrics, maybe in 10-15 minutes, just the stream of consciousness thing. And he played the melody of the song for me on his guitar. He didn't have even a demo of the melody. And I said, yeah, sure, you know, I still feel great. Let's try this. And like, it took us so little to you know, like lay down the demo and understand the vocals. And for me, when I sang that, when I started to sing that melody with those lyrics, for me, it came so natural. It was that kind of, you know, rainbow deal.
Yeah, that's a really
stuff.
good point.
That's immediately, like, that locked in my mind that with this idea that, okay, this is going to be great, you know, because we are so quick and it's so easy for us to find that working wavelength. And so, yeah, it felt very natural. Yep.
It's a song by song thing on the album. It's like, you know, it's back and forth. There's a lot of stuff that I wrote to a ready point where I was able to send out the basic demo tracks and then also a cue for the melody and even the lyrics, like, you know, the old way. But then there's a few songs that, you know, that are collaboration in, like, you know, one way or the other, all the way to King Ghidorah being very much a Paolo song. So he had the idea for the main chorus, the main idea. He wrote all the lyrics, he did all the vocal arrangements, all that. So I just basically created, a backing track to a song that I didn't really know. I just knew that, you know, okay, the chorus is going to be like this, but, you know, then I was like, okay, maybe we'll go here, maybe we'll go here, and you know, you know, just try to be a, you know, musician, so to speak, like, you know, like a conductor. Okay, I need to make a 4 or 5 minute heavy rock song out of a couple of ideas, but just the music, not the vocal melody, not the things I'm used to writing. And he came back really great. You know, it's a standout track, and I'm really happy it's there. And then he wrote lyrics, or partially or mostly for a couple of other songs. You know, so even with that, it's more than it's been on the previous albums. Even though back in the day, Torsti and me would work like totally separately, he would always have. I guess he has 2 songs on our second album, and he has 2 songs on our third album. But he's like the way he is, you know, like a great guy, a great composer, a great musician. So he had everything ready. I just wrote the lyrics for those songs back in the day. So it was a little different this time.
Yeah, Paolo, and you mentioned before that you were a Leverage fan before you knew each other. Is it easy for you to write music as well for Leverage in that sense?
Well, in a way, yes, and in another way, no. And I'll start from the latter. I've always respected and admired Tuomas's songwriting a lot, and this is why I'm actually quite difficult with you know, falling in love with new music. Not because of my age, but I've always been a little bit like skeptical with appreciating new music, because, well, it has to have that particular something for me. I guess that's the same for everybody, but I can't tell my experience. But when I heard the Leverage, the second and the third album, Blind Fire and Circus Colossus, those were the first 2 albums that I listened to, I was really smitten. I was really blown away. So already at that time, that goes back over 10 years, I knew that Tuomas's songwriting was great. So for me, like, I always approach what he does, even nowadays in our cooperation, with a lot of respect, you know. And I always try to learn from what he says and what he does. And sometimes we disagree, very rarely actually, but sometimes we do. Most of the time we agree. And so for me, it's not just a productive experience, it's also a learning experience, you know, in myself. And I've always believed that, yeah, you know, like, respect and listen to the wise man, and you probably can learn something. But at the same time, of course, now I'm the frontman of this band, I'm the singer. I'm aware of my capabilities, I'm aware of what I can bring to this band now, and hopefully I can bring even more and better in the future. At least that's my plan. And so that means that through this band, I can also bring my own personality and my own compositional ideas, maybe my vocal lines, the sound choices and so on, into the sound of the band. But of course, it always goes through Tuomas's approval, and we work in very close contact with that.
I can't think of anything that we have really disagreed on. We talked about certain things,
Yeah, that's
you know,
true.
We negotiated, but we didn't argue.
Yeah.
I think there were times when he wanted to do a thing a certain way, and I was like, you know, like to myself that but then again, this learning thing goes both ways. It's like, you know, like he says he learns from me, I learn from him. So it's like, I'm like, okay, you can actually do it that way too. So I guess I'm a little more flexible than I used to be back in the day, and can appreciate other people's thoughts a lot better. That I know for sure. But I think it's a give and take for both of us, and there really was no argument. I seriously, I can't recall anything that would have pissed me off, that I'd be like, you know, what the hell is he doing?
Yeah,
or
yeah.
like that. It was like just tiny little wrinkles or details, you know, that maybe had to do, like, you know, a phrase, you know, like a couple of notes here and there, or, you know, like what's the mood of this part of the song?
Yeah.
That kind of things, you know,
Yes.
maybe more than anything else, which are matters of taste anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when I said disagreement, I actually didn't even mean it in a negative way, because if we thought, you know, 110% exactly the same way, well, there wouldn't be any functioning cooperating, co-writing. So I think
true.
that where the peaceful but necessary disagreements come into play, there is where we thrive, because as Tuomas has said, well, he says he learns from me. I'm very honored by that. Probably the amount of learning is not balanced between the two of us, but yeah, that's probably where the new stuff comes out from our collaboration.
Let me add one more thing. It's like, I've been a few times I've been a part of some songwriting camps or things like that, where people are put in the same room and said, hey, go ahead, make some music. So nobody argues, but it's all compromises.
Yeah.
It's all compromises.
Of course.
And what comes out is a compromise.
Of course.
Okay. And that's what I'm so happy about. It's like, like we are so much on the same page that there's nothing compromised on the album. It's just like, okay, I give 50% and he gives 50% and we wind up, 50% of something that could have been 100%, So it's like it's been really, really, really great.
Of course, yeah. I will add one thing as well. Like, it's exactly as you say, and I think that we can both say, correct me if I'm wrong, that we can stand behind every one single choice we made in the album. We both can stand behind.
Yeah.
So even though we came to compromises, they were like Hegelian synthesis, which is better than the sum of its parts. So it wasn't really like toning down or compromising downwards. It was that the mixing and the mixturing of our ideas always gave birth to something better. So we kind of complemented each other and we enhanced each other's talents.
That's it.
Well, for me, it's a point of pride and honor because Pekka is a singer that I've always admired and respected so much. We are such different singers between me and him, but I see this as a richness. I see this as a point of great music. Like me, I mean, you can make great music in such different ways. And Pekka knows this. Pekka knows that he's one of my singing heroes. And with Kimmo, Tuomas had been friends with him for 25 years. Kimmo and I weren't as close, but he was a friend of mine too. And he was a great singer too. We spoke many times about that. And he also had a completely different approach than mine. Of course, he belonged to maybe another generation, went through a different path in his art and his life, and I think I'm very honored to sing the songs, some of the songs that he was able to record with Leverage. I think that his memory, lives on through the fact that we are gonna perform some of these songs. So I'm really happy that we can do that, that we have the time, and we also have the people in the band who are able to do that.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite song that Pekka song and one that Kimmo song? Like that?
Oh well, that's such a difficult question. Let me name just a few. With Pekka, I think 15 years from the debut album from Tides. That's one song that always, it's so powerful. It just comes out of nowhere, just like in the lyrics, I was just a young boy when the man came to this town, and in the way Pekka sings those lines and the rest of the song, it just blows me away every time. And then on the second album, Blind Fire, there's this song Sentenced, which is, it's full of drama and emotion, and I think Pekka delivers it really, really well. With Kimmo, I think my favorite Kimmo song is Red Moon over Sonora, which came first as a single and then it came into the Terminus album. That's such a great, mid-tempo, epic, again, dramatic song. And I think it kind of embodies a little bit Kimmo, like one of the many sides of Kimmo as a person too, like the way he sings and the way he delivers the song. And I I think Emperor is also the other favorite song of mine with Kimmo, because it's such, it's a massive song, and I know that he was very, very fond of history, especially the Roman Empire period. We talked about that a few times, so I think that it was a particular dear song for him.
We're waiting on confirmation, so can't really
Yeah.
on certain things, so can't really talk about them right now. But we are with a very good booking agency, and typically for something like that, it's like our timeline. Our timeline is a little like, we started making music and we made the album, and we're so focused on that like late last fall, we're like, hey, we got to figure out how to get to play live too, all that. So it's like, I've said this to a lot of people, that with leverage is like it's like a basketball on the ground, and you need to get it bouncing again, like, get it going like this again. And so we are lucky to be with, like I said, with a very capable booking agency. But fact is that they are selling, in essence, they are probably selling 2026 right now. So anything that we might get for this year is a matter of, something lucky happening. But we're waiting on confirmation on some dates that will be this fall, and hopefully we get to play live as much as possible. We have a lot of music that hasn't been played live so much, not just this new album, but all of the Above the Beyond, and then some stuff on the previous album too that hasn't been played live ever, or just a couple of times. So we have a lot of the music to introduce to people and get this band going again, and then hopefully get to play gigs and tour a little bit, and then start getting ideas towards new songs, and we're not gonna stop. The ball's gonna roll.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's only the beginning.
Well, it's like I've always been in awe by the fact that there's people all over the world that are listening to Leverage music. Basically, songs that I've written by myself down in the studio, in front of a computer, and I see from Spotify numbers, or get messages from South America, North America, or Australia, like places that are really far away, and I'm just so humbly thankful for being able to make music, and so thanks to everyone who's listening to our music, and stay tuned. You ain't seen nothing yet.
I agree.